this week's episode, we talk about pork and interview Toby Jeg of Red Scare Industries.
You're alone in a blacked out room, bound feet pressed to the floor. On your own, been attacked, but soon long teeth, less lack of gore. Drug of choice taken minutes before hooded men walk through your door. Quiet voice clicking latch that score, settle quick, but you need more. You're alone in a white-lit hall, bloody ends clutch torn up knee. Monotone, I'm in bright spit pool, round stands cut short of sleep. Stand her up to the brushed steel door, tear the whole thing off the wall. Dagger fangs at a harsh tear board, big soul, I'll kill you all. Now the fast in the past, at last you can eat your fill at will. Singing on and on and on and on, this song's the one you'll never write down and you won't remember it. When you wake up on a concrete floor on Monday, December is not right or natural. A factual reality, a chemical ability to kill. You're alone in a blacked out room, keeping dark thoughts on your brain. Ringing phones and crap festoon on the floor to keep you sane. You await for the mutation to approach and end your life. All of this just a ruse built up, just a joke to ensure life. Now the fast in the past, at last gonna eat your fill at will. And see, I need repeat, no feet, keep up on kills. Hot breath on your neck, cold sweat's gonna end your sorry life. Singing on and on and on and on, this song's the one you'll never write down and you won't remember it. When you wake up on a concrete floor on Monday, December is not right or natural. A factual reality, a chemical ability to kill. Not natural, no. The actual ability to kill.
Welcome in once again to Punk Rock Foodies Radio, coming at you live from downtown Mattersville at the Vicious Pig Saloon. This is your one-stop shop for everything punk rock and food. And now, your hosts, Steve Guerrero, Skate Rat Betty, Brian Reinhardt, and the asshole in charge, Xander T.
And that was Direct Hit with Chemical Ability, and you are listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio, and we are back for another year of disappointing food talk. 2017 is amongst us.
I would say that it's been too long, but it's been probably about the right amount of time.
Just enough for people to say, I'll give it another try.
This podcast will make you hungrier for another podcast.
But I'm the asshole in charge of Punk Rock Foodies, Xander T, and with me at the Vicious Pig today is...
What's up? It's Skate Rat Betty.
Yeah. And here is always Steve Guerrero. What's up?
And Brian Reinhardt. I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, not too bad.
All right.
Thanks for asking.
Everyone says what's up and no one answers, so I figured I'd answer. I'm good.
New Year, say me.
Nothing's going to change. So we are a radio show podcast type thing that's based off of the Facebook group Punk Rock Foodies. It's real simple. You make food, you take a picture of that food, and you post it to the page.
And it just turned 4 the other day, this past weekend.
4 years old, yeah. We just had our 4th anniversary last week.
How old is that in podcast years? Is that like dog years? Or web page years?
I think if you're still relevant 4 years later.
Yeah. The good news is we were never really that relevant.
Right. We've got nowhere to go but up, right?
Aiming for, that's like the new tagline, Punk Rock Foodies, aiming for relevancy.
Mediocreness is our thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we're into punk rock and we're into food and you must be too, or else you would not be listening to us. So,
or you clicked the wrong thing accidentally. In which case, welcome.
So we want to listen to a little punk rock music before we get into. We have a great show. We have a show. We have a great interview. We're not sure if the show is going to be great just yet, but we'll hopefully it will turn out that way. So let's listen to some music, and then we'll get into our show. So
sweet. Am I going first? Okay. Here's a band from Red Scare Industries called the Reaganomics. Close personal friends of mine with a song called My Bike on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
Special offer, guaranteed personality. I'm all lost in the supermarket.
All right, that was The Clash with Lost in the Supermarket. And speaking of Lost in the Supermarket, you know, I tell you, I don't leave the house much still. I don't cook yet, really. We're just now hitting the 6-month mark, and I'm leaving the house. But I did. I cooked twice this weekend, and one of the things that I cooked, which I was really stoked about, was like a solid pound of bacon.
Nice.
So, you know, and sure there was breakfast too, but I mean, really, it was a solid pound of bacon. So, from what I understand, we're going to talk about pork today.
Absolutely. Pig is an amazing animal. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. If you do, it's even better that God gave us pigs. If you think so. And I was actually doing some research, and I found out. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, but it was actually I found out like one bit of information. I thought that's so cool, and that's all I did. So
you're really building this up right now, man. This better be good.
I know. Okay, hold your horses. Here we go. The pig has been domesticated in China for almost 7,000 years.
Oh, wow.
They've been eating pig. Wow. So, there you go.
They were onto something.
Yep.
I really thought you were going to come out with that, you know, pigs have multiple orgasms thing.
Well, he needs to do a little more research on that first.
I need to personally check into that.
I don't know, man. Sometimes bacon can give me multiple orgasms. So,
you know, I have heard good things about pork belly.
Oh God!
Yeah. What's the difference between bacon and pork belly? Is it just the cured process, or is there? It's a different cut. It seems like it's kind of the same cut.
It's the same cut.
Is it? Because I always thought pork belly had more fat in it, but I don't. What the fuck do I know?
No, it's the same cut. It's just that you cure it and then it becomes bacon, and then smoke it and slice it, or you know whatever it is you want to do with it. But yeah, but you're right. Like pork belly's got so much fat, and like I've always been a little cautious. Like, I know Steve, you've made stuff with pork belly before, and I've just always been kind of cautious because it just looks so fatty, you know. Mm-hmm. But there's a place that Rachel and I go to, and they've got some pork belly tacos that are just amazing. Mm-hmm. And we were in New York, and what are those dumplings? They're like dumplings with like meat and shit in them. Like
empanadas.
Not empanadas. What did you say, Skira?
Gyoza.
They're the Asian or whatever, and I got a pork belly one, and it was to die for. It was like 75 cents. It was like, boom, I'll take one, and it was like the greatest thing, especially after drinking. I'm actually craving it now. Once you said let's talk about pork, I was like, that was the first thing that came to my mind. It's so good.
We've looked for it a bunch of times. I'm still a little confused where the fuck I'm supposed to be looking for it.
Yeah, we've got a kind of like an Eastern European deli grocery by us, and I want to get some because we've been talking about wanting to try make some fancy ramen, and pork belly goes really good if you make some, you know, not the bullshit 25-cent stuff from the store, but if you get some good ramen, throw in some cuts of pork, and pork belly is really good in there.
Yeah, if you fry that sucker up, it'll be so good in that ramen. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Skira, the problem is where you live. Like you are like in such like redneck country. Like
butchers have it. Like
they would, you'd have to talk to a butcher. But like I know, you know, being so close to Washington D.C. and it's such a diverse area. I mean, there's a ton of like Asian supermarkets and things like that. I could find. The
anything. Mexican mart out in Fellsmere, when I lived at my dad's property, they had a nice butcher out there that you could find like flank steaks and all sorts of really great cuts, but. Pork belly, I bet, was something they sold out there. I haven't gone out there in a couple of years, but the grocery. I'm just talking like Winn-Dixie and Publix when I'm looking down here.
Well, I used to work at a butcher shop in a grocery store, and I never saw pork belly ever.
Yeah,
I know.
I never even heard of it. I think until this show, until we started doing this. Yeah.
Hey, every time Xander mentions a job he used to have, you got to take a drink.
I'm glad you didn't let that one slip by.
Yeah, man.
I didn't want to interrupt anybody, but
no matter what you mention, be like, yeah, Neil Armstrong this, and Xander be like, well, I used to be an astronaut, and you know,
plus one time I worked for NASA, but it didn't work out, so I went to JPL for a couple of months.
I went to the butcher shop.
Yes,
Jesus. My son likes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, I used to be a Ninja Turtle.
I was Master Shredder.
It was a college. It was a phase.
I once delivered pizza to him too. That's how I got in. It was weird.
Yes, I've had many jobs. But you know what? Aside, obviously, I think the pork belly and the bacon is like. I mean, that's one of the greatest gifts of all kind. But there's so much more to a pig than just the bacon. Obviously, I mean, and even more than just ham and pork chops.
Yeah.
I know, Brian, you're a pork chop god.
I was No, I'm exaggerating my own skill. I'm the king of exaggeration. But if you want to call me a god, I'm good at that. But yeah, we were talking today, or I was talking about pork chops today, and my buddy Al, who's in Punk Rock Foodies, it sounds like we're gonna put together a Punk Rock Foodies pork chop throwdown competition. So,
Porkapalooza? Nice.
Porkapalooza, because he stepped up to the plate. So at some point, me and a few other guys from Punk Rock Foodies are going to get together and do our own special pork chops and maybe do a blind test with the wives and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to win.
See, I'm not a fan of pork chops, like doing like bone-in pork chops. I mean, even boneless pork chops. I don't know, maybe just because of growing up, that was like, pork chops, mashed potatoes, applesauce, green beans. It was like just a very, it was just so basic
and like 3 times a week.
And they were like, well, my mom, if I said that, then my mom would beat my ass because she didn't do the same meals all the time. But it just seemed like every time the pork chops, they were just always done the same way. Yeah, and then maybe they were dried out. I would hate to tell my mom that.
That's what happened with me. We always had pork chops coming up, and I love my mom, but they were always well done and I didn't even realize until a few years ago that when it comes to pork, it's not like chicken. You know what I mean? Like chicken, you have to cook well. With pork, you can leave it a little pink, and it's really, really good. I was always having well done.
20 years ago, that wasn't the rule, though. Like, if you ask your parents, your parents cooked, they didn't cook pork to temp. Like, my dad only started cooking pork to temp, like, the last 10 years. So,
it's a relatively
I do remember back when it was, like, taboo, but...
Yeah, and then it would be dry and relatively flavorless. So, I think, like, what I do now is I get really thick bone-in pork. I'm talking, like, the really thick bone-in pork chops. I spend the extra money, leave it pink in the middle, and if you marinate it properly, it can be really, really good. But it needs to be bone-in. For whatever reason, the boneless pork chops, to me, it's hard to make that properly. You can cut those up and put that in some pho or something.
Well, you're probably doing them on the grill, too, so having that bone in there is that extra heat kind of source, so it's going to cook those thick pork chops pretty damn good. You're going to get a good sear, and that middle will still stay pink, but it'll still be cooked, No, big chops are the way to go. I love
we do the fat boneless ones, but we started using those salmon planks, the cedar planks, on the grill. Yeah, because, that way you can cook them a little longer, you get that smoky taste, and you're not drying them out without the bone on there. But, I grew up with the bone-in thin ones, and, like, they're just, it's like shoe leather by that time,
Yeah, those end up just tasting like a paper plate. What I do is, now, before I do put them on the grill, but not for very long, what I do is I sear them real good on either side on the stove in some oil. And so that when you put them on the grill, they stay moist. Because if you just throw it on the grill, it's hard to not dry it out. Moist! It's hard to not dry it out. So I sear them real good in a skillet, brown them on both sides, and then you throw them on the grill for a couple minutes, and they stay pink in the middle, and it'll still be nice and moist.
I like it moist and pink.
Xander once had a job as a moist tester once.
I was a moist tester.
He used to be a pork chop.
What's crazy, man, now that I think about it, I didn't get into pork chops until way later on, man. Like, every time I had pork growing up, it was like in a Mexican dish, which was cut up a little bit more small, like in Chile Verde or like, Chile Colorado, but it was I never really had pork chops, now that I think about it. Like, it wasn't until, like, way later.
And I've never grilled pork chops. Even when I would make them, because like my mom would always find like a sale on like whole boneless pork loin, like the whole friggin' loin you'd buy for whatever, real cheap. And so she'd always call me, hey, it's 99 cents a pound, you want one? And then she would cut it up for me and like package it in little freezer packs. And so I just would always say, just give me like little roasts. And so then I could slice them up into whatever I wanted, like into like, for stir fry or into pork chops, thick chops, thin chops. But I've never grilled them. I've always just kind of done them in a pan.
My dad always grills them.
Yeah. To me, it's about the quality of the cut. you can still, if I get a crappy cut of a pork chop, I don't care how I make it, it's going to taste bad. But I mean, if you spend the extra money, and maybe I'm being a bit of a snob here, I understand that, but spend the extra 75 cents to a dollar, if you get a really good cut of meat, and that goes with anything, it's not just pork chops, but it's, you can really do it up nice. If you get the really thin ones, yeah, it'll end up being a paper plate.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because a lot of the dishes that we have, a lot of the pork dishes we have that we all love, are because they were the shitty cuts of meat. The slave owners would throw the ribs to the slaves, and and all the really shit meats to the slave. And then now we've got ribs, and ribs are like one of the top cuts.
That's right.
I fucking love ribs. When summer rolls around, man, I'm gonna be rocking some fucking ribs.
I like ribs. I think we all like ribs.
I don't like to cook them. I love to eat them, but yeah. I don't know.
I love everything about ribs. Marinated, dry rubbed, smoked, roasted. I don't care.
Yeah.
Ribs.
The all day smoke and use the grill and then move them to other things. I don't really. I think I've done it maybe once. Mike's probably done it once or twice.
Yeah, and since we're talking about pork ribs are way better than beef ribs.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. And I like beef ribs if they're made right, if you braise them or something like that. But pork ribs are they're just better.
Well, and you have St. Louis, you have baby back, even the way they cut them, and I like a couple of different ones. Yeah.
I made some fans on my Jack and Coke ribs before that. Those baby backs are pretty badass.
I've seen your pictures when you make that stuff. Looks good.
That's a good. Dude, ribs, and they're so fun to mess with because you can brine them for a while. You can cook them a million different ways. Texas crutch them,
I don't know what that is. What's a Texas crutch?
When you wrap it up in aluminum foil after you've thrown it on the grill, so you bake it in the oven after and let it just kind of just soak in its own juices.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I do that the other way.
Yeah.
I bake it in the oven first, in foil, and then I throw it on the grill.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you go. I mean, you could do it either way, and it's going to turn out. But I would probably do it. Yeah, bake it first, and then throw on the grill.
Low heat.
Get some barbecue sauce on there, let that caramelize, and you got yourself.
Yeah, like 250 for like 2 hours, and then put them right on the grill.
Exactly.
Those bones, when I'm flipping them, when I'm saucing them and flipping them, bones are falling out. I'm just tossing them over the edge of the porch,
Nice.
Well, it's funny. My grandmother used to do this dish with the country style ribs, and what she would do, she would just season them with like salt and pepper. And I remember fennel and crushed red pepper was a big seasoning on it, and some oil, and just bake them in the oven. And it was almost like an appetizer because a lot of those, they don't have a lot of meat. There's a lot of bone mixed in there because of the way they're cut, and it's just. I've always, when I worked in that butcher shop, those country style ribs, they were always made like differently. Like there was like 2 different cuts of meat they made them from. I think the butt was one, but it was like sometimes you'd get some that just had a ton of bone and like hardly any meat. So my grandma would do this with them, and you just like kind of snack on them. And it was like all the ingredients that are in sausage, with the fennel and everything like that. And it was like an unground hot Italian sausage, and you just kind of snack on them. That
sounds
shit.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you could smell it.
A little hot Italian sausage.
You know it. But when it was baking, I mean, you smelled it like. I mean, that was just such great aroma. And then, of course, you knew it was done when the smoke alarm went off. But that's grandma.
Well, and I live in Florida, which is kind of a beachy place. Steve, you're in California there, but I mean, have you guys ever done like a full pig roast?
Yeah.
Or been to one?
Yeah.
I've been to one, but no, I've never done it.
We had one for my high school graduation, and yes, I graduated high school.
my dad did one when I was younger. Yeah.
Have you guys seen that apparatus? It's a big box, and it's called La Caja China. It was invented by some dude in Miami to cook Cuban-style pork roast. It's just like a box, but the heat is on top. Like the heat source is on top, so the charcoal's up here, and the heat goes down. Oh my God, the pig that comes off that looks amazing. I almost thought about buying one time. I was so just into it, but I realized it's just a big old waste of space.
How does the heat go down?
Yeah,
That seems so inefficient.
That's like physics would.
I know, but it just I don't. I'd have to look it up right now. But it was called La Caja China, the Chinese box, and it was a Chinese technique that's where he stole it from. But he wanted to do Cuban style pork, so they do it with, and then they put the mole sauce all over it, and oh god.
Well, wait, when you put them in the ground, you put the heat over them, and so if you're in a box, it's contained.
Kind of the same thing.
So. Yeah, okay.
There's some Mexican dishes that you're really supposed to do that. Wrap it in banana leaves, put it in the ground, put all the stuff on top of it, and that's how it cooks. So it's a cooking method, but I've never tried it. I would love to.
Fuck yeah.
Actually, I would love to have somebody else do it, and then I can try it.
I have cooked dolphin, I think, in banana leaves a couple of times. I have also put some other things in banana leaves.
Fuck yeah. Well, you guys ever have porchetta? It's spelled porchetta, but it's pronounced porchetta.
Oh. Yeah.
So it's a basic.
Well, no, I haven't had that. I've had porchetta, but
it's basically, Brian, there's two ways to do it. The way that I do it is you just take a boneless pork loin and cut it along the edge and kind of unroll it. You kind of slice it and unroll it, and make it a big flat slab of meat, and then you stuff it with it's fennel, garlic, crushed red pepper, rosemary, sage. Sometimes you put like orange zest in there. And then you roll it back up, tie it up, and bake it. And then when it comes out, you just slice it real thin and you make sandwiches with it.
Like little pinwheels almost, right?
Nice.
But there's another style I read about where you take the pork belly and you line the pork belly with all that stuffing. Then you put the pork loin roast on the pork belly and then wrap it up. So
that sounds easier because cutting the other one sounds like I'd fuck that up.
The cutting is a bitch, and then not only that would you fuck up, then you got to tie it, unless you get like one of those baskets. But man, that's some good meat right there. And you just, like I said, slice it up and put it on a sandwich. I did a banh mi style porchetta sandwich recently with the pickled daikon and carrots. Oh my god. On a ciabatta bun, so fucking good.
Hold the cilantro?
Hold the cilantro, absolutely. I even bought the cilantro and threw it out just for the hell of it.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a place by me that has porchetta sandwiches as a special, but today I went to another sandwich spot and had a prosciutto sandwich. And, oh, God, that was so good.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Oh, prosciutto, Italian bacon, basically, right? I mean,
pancetta.
It's great on pizza.
Pancetta.
Well, I guess prosciutto and pancetta are the same thing. It's just they're cured two different ways, but they come from the same bacon.
Well,
yeah,
that's what I read.
And then so porchetta is what? Because I thought like a mozzarella
is like a salami. It's a type of salami.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, see, I mean, look at how versatile a pig is. And we barely even we haven't even talked about Spam yet.
No.
I have been humming the Spider Pig theme song like this the whole time. I'm sorry. Does whatever a Spider Pig does. Sorry.
Every time I watch the movie Friday, I just want to. You eat all the pig feet. I want to try pig feet. Or when I see that old episode of Ren and Stimpy with the hog jowls. You know what I mean? Where he's eating the face.
Oh my god,
the so
cheek
delicious.
Meat? Have you ever had the cheek meat?
I have not. I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good. It's like pig ice cream.
Chef Greg that was has been on our show before. His restaurant Haven has a fried pig ear appetizer that's pretty damn good. It's like tougher chicharron, but it's really good.
Oh man! And then I made some chicharrones this summer.
Nice.
I don't know what the hell. Oh, because I had a big ass shoulder that I was gonna make. There we go. I was gonna make some pulled pork with. So I cut the skin off and did all the shit to put in the oven. And so I looked up a recipe and I made my own chicharrones. They were grilled. They were really fucking good. And even my dad, who's been eating them since he was a kid, I gave him some and he loved them. I mean, they were perfect. I will definitely make those again. Granted, it's skin and fat, and it's not the healthiest thing for you, but they were really fucking good. So
most of the stuff we talk about isn't really good for you.
No, but it tastes good.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about the other day. I was on a pancake kick and I made pigs in a blanket. Oh God, it took me back to my childhood. So good.
I'm actually just remembering you mentioned before about a pig roast, if we'd ever done that.
Yeah.
And I actually remember as a kid, a neighbor of ours got a big smoker. He rented a big smoker and he bought a whole pig, and he had the neighborhood come over to do a pig roast. But I remember very clearly the guy didn't start cooking it until 4 in the afternoon because he didn't know any better.
The fuck?
Oh,
And so everyone shows up at
no big deal.
Yeah, everyone started showing up around 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and like, oh, when's it gonna be ready? He's like, oh, I don't know, it's been in there for an hour or two. And I remember my dad being like, Bill, that has to roast for at least 8, 10, 12 hours. Like, it's gonna take. You should have started it this morning at 6 a.m. And he's like, no, we'll be good. And he roasted it on high for a few hours, and then he tried to cut into it, and it was just a big bloody car. It was horrible. It was really bad.
He
spent
never
all this
cooked
money.
Thanksgiving dinner and turkey takes
Dude,
4.
it was a huge. I mean, I don't even know how much money he spent. He bought a whole pig, dude. It was huge, and it was just. He ended up throwing it in
cooking
overnight.
attempt's only a recent thing.
Yeah.
Hey, another thing about Chef Greg, his restaurant, I forgot, you can order a whole pig. You got to order it the week before, and then you come in on Saturday with 8 to 10 of your friends, and there's a big old roasted pig wait
Nice.
with all the fixings.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've never known another restaurant to do that.
That's smart though, family style. You got a big old table. I'm sure they have one anyways. So
yeah.
That's smart.
Big old suckling pig just roasted to perfection.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and a lot of places have a special event trailer or a smoker or something that they have out back or that they keep that the owner has. Yeah, that's great. Damn.
All right, let's play some music and then come back and continue to talk about pig, because we've barely even touched the surface of a pig. So we talked a little bit about the skin, but
Next, we're going to talk about pig dicks.
Maybe some pig on pig dishes.
bacon.
Making bacon pancakes.
Well, for all you guys out there in the punk rock community, especially those from Southern California, you guys might have heard that there was a loss in our community. The lead singer of the Cadillac Tramps, Gabby Gaberno, finally passed away from cancer, and it's been tough for a lot of people. There's a lot of friends that I know of his are taking it really hard, but he was a badass lead singer. The Cadillac Tramps have their place in Southern California punk rock history. So let's celebrate his life with a little ditty called "Life on the Edge" live. So this is the Cadillac Tramps, and you're listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
I'm gonna tell you a story about a little man. He lived his life on the edge in the garbage chain. Until he met that woman, she don't tear him apart. He needs a brand new life, needs a brand new start to it. Baby, you got a problem, you got a problem, and I got what you need. Brand new start, life on the edge, life on the edge, life on the edge. Homeboy come up to me, say, well, home, what you need? Man, I got me a little problem with being old Baba Town. I need a brand new life, just one more start. Homes, I got me a little problem. That's right, you got a problem. You got a problem. You got a problem. And I got what you need. Brand new start. Life on the edge. Living down the edge. Life on the edge. Dude comes up to me, right? I said, man, Holmes, what you need? Man, I got me a little problem. I'm about to take the big fall, he said. Gives me a motherfucking brand new life, Holmes. Man, I just need one more start. Hey, man, if you could just let me 20. Oh, get on down the road, Holmes. Hey, you got a problem. You got a problem. And I got what you need. Brand new start. Oh, you got a problem. another little man. Hit himself on the ass. Same old garbage can. Let himself another woman. She'll wreck his ass. He needs a motherfucking brand new life. He needs a brand new start to it. And you got a problem. You got a problem. And I know what you need. Brand new start. Life on the edge. Life on the edge. Life on the edge.
One more ditty from Gabby Gaberto's other band. That was Manic Hispanic with I Want to Be a Cholo. what a great song. What a great band that was. Oh, man, we're going to miss him. But, God bless Gabby. You were amazing while you were here, and you entertained a lot of people. So, thank you.
At least he's left the music behind.
The memory still lives on, and that's what, that's important. So
we should all be so lucky as to leave a legacy like that.
Well, this podcast is our legacy, dude. I mean,
whoa.
Brian Reinhardt IV one day will be listening to this like in 2020, and I guess 2020 is not that far away.
I was going to say,
2,220.
I don't know how much of it's going to be a legacy or if it's going to be this is evidence in a court case or something.
He's going to be listening to it and be like, God, they must have gotten so rich.
50 years from now, pig will be like an endangered species, and be like, "Whoa! I wish I could have tasted pork belly."
It'll be like I picture it'll be like Waterworld. Like everyone will be living on boats, and Kevin Costner will be listening to our podcast.
We could only be so lucky if Kevin Costner would listen to our podcast.
He'll still be making horrible movies.
Probably. But someone else who had to leave us a little too early is Skate Rat had to go.
She didn't die.
No, she's still alive and well. She's got the baby, and so she was able to stop him for a little bit. She, brought the baby to the bar, and then she had a roll. So
and she got hungry talking about pork, so she's
exactly. So it was great to have her back.
Yeah.
So we're gonna continue talking pigs.
Yeah.
So anyway, my ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
Hey.
Somebody was going to make that joke eventually. It might as well have been me.
So, have you guys done any pig-on-pig dishes?
Bacon explosion.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
The bacon explosion. Talked a lot about that. I mean, I don't need to go through it again, but I mean, I've made a lot of those, and that's basically pig on pig on pig on pig on pig, and then barbecue sauce.
Well, yeah. I've never done any pig on pig. The one thing with talking about that porchetta with the pork belly over top of the loin, I was thinking, well, you could wrap it in bacon itself and do that. I've never. You wrap bacon around a filet mignon. I've never thought about putting it around a pork chop, maybe because it's already pork.
I do pork chops with the mustard bacon sauce. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, a little red onion in there. I think a little parsley, and I think there's one other herb. Maybe some thyme or something. Definitely garlic. Always garlic.
Yes.
I have a buddy who was telling me a couple weeks ago, and I'm glad I remembered it because I meant to bring it up on the show. He told me about a time that him and his friends made bacon-wrapped king crab legs. Listen, if you think about it, that's a stupid fucking idea. Because he wrapped it around the shell of the crab legs.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
okay.
He wrapped the actual crab legs, shell and all, with bacon, and then grilled it. And I'm like, how was that? That's the stupidest fucking idea. Yeah, dude, it was a waste. I mean, I'm sure you take the bacon off and then you eat that. So basically, you're eating bacon and then crab. You know what I mean? Like, they don't interact at all.
No, the bacon's like salting up the crab and like making it delicious.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't seek into the fucking through the shell.
No,
it didn't get into the
shell.
meat.
It's a protective layer. It's so yeah, that was, and he was like presenting it to me like he was reinventing the wheel. I'm like, all right, man, that's a waste of fucking money and time. So yeah, don't do that, kids. And he's on Punk Rock Foodies. I'm not going to say his name, but he might. No, he's not listening to this.
Feel free to wrap a hot dog in bacon and then throw that on the grill.
Dude.
There we go.
I mean, right away I was like, no, dude, that's a bad idea.
No, I think that would be a great, delicious combination of flavor. I think and getting
Take
some
the
king
meat
crab
out,
and the
maybe.
sweetness of that crab and then that bacon. I mean, that'd be great, but you couldn't. No.
Well, I was about to say I love a shrimp taco with like bacon bits on top of it. Oh, there's something about the way that plays off.
Sure.
Oh. But yeah, that's how that kind of would play off. But not if there's a fucking shell in between.
Yeah, dude. It's just.
I grilled some king crab legs and I roasted some bacon in the other room. So
Yeah. That's really all it is.
Oh, man.
yeah, but okay, so we talked about the pork chops, we've talked about the ribs, and obviously bacon. But there's so much more to talk about when it comes to pigs, and there is. I brought it up. I'm doing like pulled pork, using a shoulder or a butt, and roasting that shit, and then my mom would always do. She always put it in at night, like your neighbor with the pig. Like 6, 7 o'clock at night, and just covered in foil and put it in that oven at like 170 degrees, and just salt, pepper, and oil.
But she did it on purpose. She planned that. You know what I mean?
You would wake up in the middle of the night and be fucking hungry. You'd smell it in the house, and then let it cool down. It'd be done in the morning. You let it cool down, and then you can shred it up and throw some barbecue sauce on there.
And once you've got shredded pork, you can do so much with shredded pork. I mean, there's not a lot you can't do with shredded pork. You can put that shit on some cornflakes, and it would be awesome.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
To me, the best thing for shredded pork, obviously, aside from your basic sandwiches, throw it in with some good mac and cheese. Just mix it in there. That's you got yourself. Then everybody thinks you can cook. It's awesome.
I've used it on pizza. Throw it in quesadilla. Obviously you can do like some tacos or something like that, which is basically quesadilla, just not melted. But yeah, some shredded.
So good for leftovers, hash.
Oh God! In the morning, they're mixing it up with their scrambled eggs. Oh.
And depending on if you made it all citrusy, you could do a like a lettuce wrap with some like mango like salsa.
Mango.
Oh, you just made me remember. I got a fucking recipe for it's a pork tenderloin that you do real Asian style. You put some hoisin barbecue sauce on it that's got like some orange juice mixed in with it and like Asian 5 spice. You roast that and then you serve it sliced up. You take the little tortillas, the little 8-inch tortillas or 6-inch tortillas, whatever, the small ones, and you fry them in a frying pan with some egg and green onion, so they get like that gets like stuck to the tortilla, and you throw the pork on there, and then some mango salsa, and it is so fucking good. You got the tangy zip of the salsa with the sweetness of the mango, and then that barbecue sauce with the zest of the orange on that pork. Oh my God. And then you're eating it in a tortilla with some egg and green onion. So fucking good. And you know what? You know where I got the recipe? Rachel fucking Ray.
Whoa.
Rachel Ray recipe.
She's good for a couple things.
And I love that dish, man. This brown sugar in the... Oh my God. Oh. It's definitely a project to partake in, but it's really fucking good. But yeah.
Sounds too complex for me to not fuck up. I would fuck that up. If it's got more than 2 steps, like that just basically means Brian can't do it.
You'd have to be in charge of like one thing, like the tenderloin,
Yeah.
Dude, that tenderloin by itself sounded really good. I bet you it gets a nice caramelization because of all that like stickiness and the hoisin and the brown sugar.
Yeah, it's good. I'll have to. I know I've made it before and I posted. I'll tag you so you can see it, but I'll have to get you the recipe. I mean, you can look it up. It's Rachel Ray. Can't stand her.
She's not hard to find.
No, she's not. But so you were saying about the pig's ears.
Yep,
Steve. Brian, have you ever eaten any of the like oddities of the pig?
Not really. I've wanted to. I've heard that a pig's ear, if you do it the right way, and it kind of what is it? It kind of makes the cartilage kind of gelatinous. You can just kind of munch it down like just like a piece of jerky.
Yeah.
Because I just think of it, it's probably like really it's got a lot of cartilage in it, but apparently it doesn't.
Well, I've had them on a salad, like mixed in with a salad. And yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like it's actually like a soft jerky. It's not even like a tough one,
Okay.
Almost like a Slim Jim, but
no
tear
into the spice, the beefy, juicy taste. That was the worst Macho Man ever.
That was really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Steve, I know like in the Mexican culture, I know there's a lot that they do with like a lot of the like odd meats and stuff. And so I'm sure you've had your share of some of the.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the most universal thing would be menudo, which people either would be like, yes, I love it, or oh no, God. So there's no middle ground with menudo. You either like it or you just cannot even look at it. So, but that's trite, and it's good.
Yeah.
I said never had it.
It's awesome for a hangover. Nice and spicy. Get the wheels back on after a rough night. But yeah, there's all kinds of. Oh man, I don't get too deep into like the pork.
Like you never had like a pig's tail or anything like that. Like you're like used to anything or.
No, I saw snouts at the grocery store. They had a pack of snouts.
Yeah.
So I assume that's just like face meat. You know what I mean? I'm assuming it's just like real delicate face meat.
I'm sure there's stuff you could do with it. I mean, like I said, pigs have been around in China for almost 7,000 years, so I'm sure they figured everything out. But like to me, I would think that would be something like just to make like soup.
I like after it's all been processed and put in a nice can of Spam.
There you go.
Yeah. Just throw it in a sandwich. I just assume that would be what I would do when we were talking about ribs. When I have extra rib meat, I always know I'm going to have a little extra meat, and I do one that doesn't have a lot of sauce on it, and I end up just throwing that in a soup or on some noodles or something like that. I think that kind of meat would be good for something like that. Just throw in with some ramen or some pho, however you say it. Fee, fi, fo, fum.
I like pho, because then you can add the k to the end.
Yeah.
Pho.
Would you like some making pho? Berserker. Half our demographic has no idea what I'm talking about.
So half of that guy?
Yeah. One guy got it and one guy doesn't.
But if you call it pho, then you get the faux shizzle. You can do that. So, but
Look how hip you are.
I know, right?
Yeah, dude, you are just 2002 like a motherfucker, man.
What up?
Shit. West Side. Start calling you T Dizzle.
T-Dizzle. My nizzle, T-Dizzle. Talk about that pork sizzle.
So, you know what? I want to talk, Brian, I'm coming to you for this because you're a resident, you know things about black people.
Yeah.
What's the deal with what's the deal with black people not eating pork?
What do you mean? There's plenty of pork.
Well, okay, I've seen it both ways. It's like that's one of the greatest dishes in the world, and then there's I'm not eating pork. What pork? What's that on CB4? Pork is white man and the devil.
Well, that's what kind of like my understanding is. It's kind of like a low-level Muslim influence, and even the non-Muslims. There's just a lot of that. Like my buddy Corey that I work with, he is a black African American, and he is not Muslim, but he will not eat pork, and it has some kind of spirituality thing that I'm pretty sure has its roots in Islam, even though he is not Muslim.
Right.
So, but
he's
he's
a spirit animal.
I don't fully understand it, but my family, like Sheena's family, was not my family. We are down with the pork, man. We love it. We love the cloven hoof.
It's nice.
So,
we eat a lot of pork.
That's my understanding, at least. So we'll have to ask Sheena. We can bring her in for our we gotta call it like the black. What we gotta have like a segment with her, like the black moment.
Well, here, let me ask her, Sheena. What's the
Because we
deal
have
with
Mexican
pork?
moments.
Fuck off, Xander.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Well, like
I'll tell you what. Listen. I'm going to hang out with some friends of mine tonight, and I will ask the black delegation what the deal is with pork.
Well, it's like Chris Rock said, "I'll eat a pig's ass if you cook it right." So there's, like I said, one hand in the other.
I was really relieved the day that I found out the pork butt wasn't actually the booty. That was a good day. Oh, it's a shoulder.
I feel like I'd be a little disappointed.
Shoulder, okay.
Was that a bone-in? Oh. Did you bone-in pork butt?
See, I did not know that. I just assumed it was the butt.
Oh, really?
What's the ham?
Yeah,
the ham
dude. I don't know. Okay, the
butt, the ham
hind.
Butt, the
okay,
butt?
I got it.
Yeah, the
ham. The anus.
Well, that's hot dog. Chitlins.
Hind
there
quarters.
You go. How about chitlins? I bet.
Nice hocks, man.
Wait, isn't that Kentucky calamari? Is that what that was?
Yeah. Damn right.
Yummy.
Got good Indiana seafood.
All right. Well, hey, pork is a glorious food. Pig is an amazing animal.
Some of my best friends are pigs.
It's exactly, including Pig Vicious over there.
Yeah.
It is the most commonly consumed meat worldwide. That's more information I found.
Nice. You did a lot of fucking research.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't have nothing else.
Do your own research, man. Do your own research.
You're not coming enough of me.
Earth is flat, man. Chemtrails.
You had to get that one in there, didn't you?
Now the tinfoil hatters are going to come after us. Or they're going to think we're serious. Like, yeah, we should listen to this show. These guys know what's up, man.
Every now and then
these conspiracy theories are killing me.
Wake up, people.
Sheeple. Xander. They're sheeple.
Yeah.
Stay woke.
Big pharma.
We could definitely talk about pigs for a while. We'll probably have a second pork episode in the future. But
I think this is not our first pork episode, to be perfectly honest.
well, we've talked about bacon. So
Okay.
there's been a bacon episode.
That was like episode 1.
And then we've talked about grilling, in which we had a lot of pork, a lot of ribs, and so, and then spam. Yeah, I mean, we yeah.
It's kind of hard to not talk about pork.
Well, it is the most commonly consumed meat worldwide.
That's what I hear.
But we've got an interview coming up, so we kind of have to roll here. Toby Jeg of Red Scare Records, Red Scare Industries. Some great bands have come from Red Scare that you probably didn't realize they were on Red Scare.
Toby is a Chicago guy, I believe. I see him out at shows quite a bit. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's all around. He used to work for Fat Records, actually. I think that's how he moved on to getting Red Scare together. So we are going to be talking to him, and we're going to listen to some more music now while we try to get him on the phone. So
here we go with another Red Scare band called the Falcon from Chicago, featuring members of Alkaline Trio, Lawrence Arms, Smoking Popes, and the Loved Ones. The song called The Lazy Boy 500 on Punk Rock Foodie Radio.
Sing a song about smoking flames that burn down our lazy yesterdays. Let's pretend this poverty is fine and sit out off our porches like we do it all the time. Out on these mean streets, it's all the same. I wash my shoes while they take me on my way, and I step to the beat everywhere I go. On the television screaming out these windows, and we're just waiting for the end. Where the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say that living is a lot like dying. Where the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say living is a lot like dying, a lot like dying. All the blood cells are circling overhead. Nobody's crying 'cause we're all already dead. I saw my days off, now I sit around like every other waste of space living in this town. This is the only chance we have. When the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say that living is a lot like dying. When the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say living is a lot like dying, a lot like dying. Yo, Jesus ain't gonna save you this time. Your precious Savior is laughing while you die. When the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say that living is a lot like dying. When the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say living is a lot like dying. When the bell tolls, I'll be fine. They say that living is a lot like dying. Your Jesus ain't gonna save you this time. Your precious Savior is laughing. Your precious Savior is laughing. Your precious Savior is laughing. Laughing while we die. Laughing while we die. Laughing while we die.
And that was Make War with Tiger Lily, and you are listening to Punk Rock Foodies Radio. And if you enjoyed that song, well, you can thank our guest here. This is Toby Jeg of Red Scare Industries. Toby, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm in Chicago, and it's 0 degrees, so that much sucks. But you know, whatever. Otherwise, I'm fine. You're out of DC, right?
Yes, I am. And we got.
You guys also are familiar. Yeah, you got the extreme climbs as well, so
yeah,
we're all right.
We're wind chill of 1 today, so yeah.
Yeah, well, talk to me when you're at 0, pal, and then you'll know what I'm. Yeah, you got a whole nother degree, buddy.
Yeah, I know. And, so you're playing some Make War, and how do we relate Make War to food? This is I'm curious to where you go from here. Well, this is the punk aspect of it. So we that's why it's punk rock, and then it's foodies, punk rock foodies. So yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting. Those guys probably have a date, because those guys are from South America, and I'm sure they would have a pretty interesting conversation about punk rock and food. But I don't know. You'll have to give. Make War, good band from Brooklyn. The first Red Scare band ever from New York, I think. So that's a milestone for everybody, for the whole community. Goddammit.
Yeah, well, yeah, and there is definitely a difference in East Coast and West Coast music. I think that's the Beastie Boys settled that one, I believe.
Was it the Beastie Boys that started that shit?
Well, they didn't start.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much of an East Coast West Coast thing, but they're a good band. They're actually just got done with the European tour, and they're selling out shows over there, and that's a cool thing for a band that's pretty new. They put out a record, you go to another continent, and you sell out shows. So I'm happy for them. Their record surprised a lot of people. It surprised me how well people received it. We put out a lot of new bands that no one's ever heard of, and some of them go on to be the Menzingers or Bottle Rocket or Master. But when you start putting them out, when they first come out, it's always is anyone going to care? Is anyone going to listen to this? And they're one of the bands that people really were holy shit, man, this is awesome. So very happy for them. In all fairness to my colleague at the label, Brendan Kelly, he's the one that discovered them and was like, we got to put this record out. So he's got the golden ear on this one.
Well, that's good because I mean he's put out a couple of records himself, so he kind of knows what
he's done. He's done a record or two. He's done quite a few. But I mean, Red Scare's got over 100 releases now too. So I personally have eclipsed Brendan's output as far as I'm concerned. So he has to listen to me.
So who was the very first band that you ever signed and put a record out with?
Well, I mean, with Red Scare, I worked at Fat Records, and I was the one that brought Lawrence Arms and one that first reached out to Against Me. So there's a couple of those bands back in the days of yore, but in terms of this label, Red Scare, it's a little murky how it started because there were two releases that didn't have a home, and they kind of came out at the same time. But the Falcon's EP is the CCCP 101. So technically that's the first release. But we also put out at the same time NMU Stories Never Told, which is a good friend of mine, David Jones. Those guys went on to be in Nothington and Dead to Me and stuff like that. And they were a San Francisco punk band that were good friends of mine. They were on Lookout Panic Button, and that label was pretty much falling apart. So at the same time, I put out those two bands, NMU and the Falcon, and we'll let the fucking punk historians sort it out. I'm sure it's a burning question in many circles, but yeah, that's how it started. And the next release was Teenage Bottle Rocket, which is funny to think that. I mean, like they were number 3 right after those guys.
Yeah. What is the relationship between you guys and Fat? Because you have a lot of bands on your label that eventually end up signing with Fat.
That's true, but
is it that Fat
bands go on to?
Is it that Fat Mike just has deeper pockets and can deal with them a little more?
Well, first of all, our bands go on to a couple different labels, whether it's Epitaph or Rise or Fat. And I'm usually the person that helps facilitate that. So it's not like so much of a competition or like I'm being outbid, but when you're one of the things about Red Scare and the relationship with bands is that they're all like friends of ours, and we're like their biggest champions, and I'm really rooting for them, working hard to try to get them on tours or people to check them out and get these bands exposure. So part of that means for me, kind of handing them off, and it's happened a few times with Fat Records, of course. I'm friends with some of the people that still work there. I don't really, Mike doesn't talk to a lot of our band. I don't interact with Mike much anymore. He's sort of he's a different person than the guy that I worked with. And I'm really not interested in like what he has going on, but in terms of like what some of my friends over there, they're great, and it's no sort of I wish there was more to say, but like the people at Epitaph, I probably have more respect for because it's a little more interesting what they do. They will operate on a bigger level, and Brett Gurewitz is like kind of like the real deal, man. I mean, he was just a teenage kid in a punk band, and he's got like a very credible, kick-ass thing that's been going on, and that will be like his legacy. I mean, to say nothing of the songs and stuff. So, we help our bands along, and that's kind of the idea. That's why we have these friendships and these relationships with these people, so we can get their music heard. And it's really. Some people may look at it and think like, oh, what's up with that? Like, ooh, that's awkward, huh? It's like, no, this is the plan, So it's totally cool, man.
Yeah. Well, okay, so obviously, I mean, you're in Chicago. You were in San Francisco with Fat. You moved to Chicago with this whole with all of Red Scare, and a lot of these bands are from that area. But then you signed somebody like Sam Russo, who, by the way, thank you so much, because Greyhound Dreams is one of my favorite albums. I listen to it every morning on my run, and he's out of England. So how does that relationship come about?
Yeah, you're running it like the Greyhounds through the field.
Exactly.
Sam was discovered by Brendan Kelly when he was overseas and doing shows with Andrew. I don't know, Sam was kind of opening up for them and like driving them around. And have you ever met Sam? He's awesome. He's like one of us. And
I have not.
He's a real sweet, smart, fun dude. And we love Sam. I consider him like a very dear friend. But before I worked with him on a professional label, I like heard this music and I was like, right on. But Brandon was the one that was like, yo, you have to check out what this guy does. He's doing he's very special. Songwriter and performer. He does very unique things, and that presents challenges for us, being that he's on another continent, because it's hard to promote that stuff. So, I'm glad that it's gotten through to you, but it can never be enough when it comes to people like Sam, because I know the world needs to hear him, and it's very difficult because we're far away. We don't have all the contacts we need to promote somebody like him.
Well, anybody listening, check out Sam Russo, because he's fucking awesome.
That's true, and he looks like a wizard, and wizards are very popular. They're going to be big in 2017. Come back again, wizards.
Well, aside from wizards, what does Red Scare have for us to look forward to in 2017?
Yeah, well, I guess they're kind of wizards, like satanic wizard, pop punk, goblins. The Lillingtons are
nice.
Doing they're recording in January. We haven't really announced it, but they're going to do an EP, and I've heard some of the demos, and it's just awesome. I don't know if you're familiar with the Lillingtons, but maybe the best record in the Red Scare catalog is Death by Television. It's a piece of pop punk history, and they're doing an EP, so that's cool. We're doing a Nothington record in February. That's actually coming out in February. There's other stuff coming along, but as for the first part of 2017, that's probably it. The Brokedowns are gonna do a record. There's gonna be some stuff, but next thing is Lillingtons and Nothington.
Nice. Let me ask you: is there a band that you would love to sign that you've seen that you would love to get on the label?
Well, I think there's a lot of bands I really love. Like Randy is a band that I think is the perfect. They're amazing records, awesome message. I love Randy. They're Swedes. I love Sweden. I would like to go there. They've got the famous, what is Sweden known for? Meatballs, the Swedish chef, Swedish bikini team. Big socialists over in Sweden, which I'm into. But, Randy is kind of an established band, and not to mention they're probably not active. So if I could sign any band, it'd be Randy. If there was a band that, if you're talking about bands that aren't, that haven't been discovered or whatever, I pretty much got my eye on all of them. I can't. They're. I don't know. Gosh, is there a band? I mean, as for brand new bands, there's nothing too crazy out there. I mean, Red Scare has 30 or 35 bands, and it's essentially just me doing all the emailing and schlepping of boxes. So. It's not we brought on 4 new bands in 2016, and that is quite an undertaking, as it is. So, if I don't sign 4 more bands in 2017, I'll be probably fine with it,
Right. Well, is there a band that you ever...
Actually, You tell me. Is there any bands I need to assign?
I could send you my demo after this.
That's what this is all about. I knew.
Yes, it's a scam.
Definitely, there was an angle here. Yeah, great.
No,
that's right. More demos. Send it over. I got 2 dogs. That's their job. Is pretty much they go through all the demos. And I told them specifically, if you find a good one, boys, just let me know. Just say, Toby, you got to check this demo out. And I've yet to fucking hear anything from the dog. So, we'll see how it goes. Send it on over.
Well, that's great because I play the dog whistle. So,
Yeah, it sounds like a cool band.
Honestly, I look towards you and your label to introduce me to new bands. Honestly, because I don't get out much. That's the honest truth.
Well, that's very flattering. When people say that kind of stuff, I very much appreciate it. And the thing is, if people like you aren't paying attention or don't care, then we can't do this stuff anyhow. So it's really cool to hear that people are so supportive like that of these new bands because, again, even for brand new bands with very cheap recording budgets, it still costs money to put gas in the tank and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you're out there listening. I appreciate it.
So let me ask you. Let's switch over from punk rock to food. Is that okay?
I've never heard of food. What? I thought this was about punk. I'm not talking about food. Are you kidding me? No. I'll have you know, in the course of this phone conversation, I've been eating some leftover black beans. How's that for foodie talk?
Nice. I've been drinking beer, so.
Sure.
We're good. Tell me, so Chicago, and I've gotten a response from Dan Vapid, one of Brian on the show here. He's from Chicago. So, what is the best deep dish in Chicago?
Well, I probably would defer to Vap. I know what Dan said. He probably goes with Pequod's, which is fantastic deep dish pizza. I'm a big fan of Art of Pizza, which is across from, if you want to, it pertains to punk rock because it's right across the street from Atlas Studios, which is where, Mass Intruder is recorded, the copyrights, the Falcon, most of the bands on Red Scare are all from Atlas Studios, Alkaline Trio, Let's Jacob, all recorded there. So, in a pinch, if you're, tracking a record at Atlas, go across the street, Art of Pizza. That's a good place to deep dish. But let me tell you something, sir. The best piece of pizza in Chicago is not actually deep dish or anybody's, the best pizza is a thing called a pizza puff. That is, they sell, have you heard of a pizza puff before?
Is that the grinder place? What the hell is it called? Where it's upside down in a bowl?
No. It's sort of. I guess the best thing. People compare it to like a Hot Pocket or something like that. But you can only get a pizza puff you can't get a pizza puff like in Milwaukee. For whatever reason, they only sell them in Chicago. There's certain things like that when it comes to food. Like, when I grew up in the Northwest, the only donuts we ate was Maple bars. And as I came to realize when I moved out of Washington, that Maple bars, they don't really sell those as donuts, and it isn't like the only pervasive donut. So there's these little regional things that, if people who are from Chicago, they leave and they're like, what? You don't have a pizza puff in Minneapolis? You would think you would because it's like deep fried, disgusting, Midwest junk garbage food, but they don't. It's only here, and you can pretty much get it at these, at like these hot dog shops, like the deep fryer places that you get your mozzarella sticks and all this kind of gross bullshit at, But yeah, anytime you're getting your gyros and your hot dogs and your Polish and that kind of stuff, you can get a pizza puff, and it's like deep fried, and I think it's the best pizza product of all Chicago. And I do like Pequod's and Art of Pizza, but for my money, that's where you should. When people come in from out of town, I always tell them to go to a pizza puff, and I also always tell them this is something that is very important. Do not eat a pizza puff right away because it is absolutely molten hot lava inside if you bite into it. So that's that's my Chicago pizza spiel, and I hope you take it to heart next time you're here in the city of Broad Shoulders.
Take that tip from Toby Jeg. He knows it. He's experienced it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, but he also, it bears mentioning, I'm not from Chicago. In fact, I actually currently don't live here. I'm staying here right now again. But, you know, I'm not Captain Chicago. I'm not Mike Ditka by any stretch of the imagination. So, you know, I take Dan Schaefer, Dan Babbitt's word for, like, what the best pizza is. He'll know.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay, so you're from Washington State, and you've been drooling around in Philadelphia for a little bit, you were in San Francisco, I mean, so you're a little all over the place, right?
Yeah, a little bit, more so than I would have thought, but yeah, I currently, my partner is studying medicine at UPenn, which is in West Philadelphia, and...
Born and raised?
You know, as someone who never watched that show, I guess that's what I get for not knowing about that. But yeah, you know, it's a cool thing to move to different towns and like experience that kind of food. But I tell you what, every time I go to a place, the only thing I seem to everyone's really excited about is like the food that's like the worst for you. Obviously, like Philadelphia's got cheesesteaks, you know, and everyone's, you know, I had a pretty dark day where I had like 3 cheesesteaks in a row one time last year. It was, those are tough times. But yeah, provincialism, something else when it comes to food.
Yep. Yeah. So do you cook yourself, or do you like to dabble in the kitchen? Or?
You know, I've been doing it more and more now that we're in Philadelphia, because Homegirl is a really, really good cook. And, I absolutely do cook. And it's funny, it's like, my thing is whenever I do things, my whole menu comes from Aldi, which all my I would say most of my ingredients come from Aldi, which, you know, I believe is now considered the most organic grocery store in America. But it's got more organic shit than Whole Foods or Trader Joe's now. And I can't say enough good things about Aldi. That's one of the cool things I've enjoyed about living in Philadelphia is how cheap it is, and you know, like it's primarily it's like a lower income neighborhood, and we have Aldi and stuff like that. And like I get like a heaping sack of groceries, and it's like $20, you know, and yeah, usually I have a thing. A dish I like to call "You've Really Outdone Yourself This Time," and it definitely starts with a box of 33-cent Aldi macaroni and cheese, and you know, I can't tell you the rest of the secret ingredients from there, but it's a big favorite at my place. If anybody's ever coming to West Philadelphia and you want to try "You've Really Outdone Yourself This Time," you know, look me up and we can maybe get you a seat at the table.
I love the name, because you really have to. That's like one of the selling points: the name and then the visual. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta. It's big time. I mean, I'm telling you, so far it's gotten really rave reviews from anyone who's had it. I mean, it's a favorite in my household. So. It does kind of remind me of a thing. It was years ago. I was interviewing that guy Frank Turner, and he has a thing that he calls like pasta surprise, and like basically whatever's left in his cupboard, he would make pasta surprise for people. So it's me. I don't want to say anything that's inspired by Frank Turner, God. But it's sort of along the same lines, you know. And it goes to show you can, you know, with a little imagination, and you know, and people who are very tolerant of your whatever crap you can throw together, you can make a pretty kick-ass meal.
Yeah, well, I mean that's basically what jambalaya is, you know.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's a jumble of everything in your fridge.
Absolutely, yeah. There you go.
So were you ever in a band and went touring with a band, or were you always just kind of on the business end of the industry?
I've done touring for a while. I've been the Lawrence Arms tour manager for, I guess it would be coming on my 10th year. I wonder if I'm going to get like a watch or a medallion of some sort for my 10th year as tour manager. Then again, that's a band that
they play like 3 shows a year. Yeah.
Yeah, they played 3 shows this year, but they put out a record for Epitaph, and they did like multiple tours. So, anyhow, I've done tour managing. I've been to every Falcon show, which is kind of disturbing, but they played about 50 shows this year, and I sold merch and tour managed all that shit.
I know, I missed you.
So I've traveled with bands. Yeah, you didn't come out to the DC show.
I know. I completely missed it. It was totally off my radar, and I apologize wholeheartedly.
See, this is the thing. People are always like, when do you see it all the time when people ask bands, like, when are you coming to San Antonio? It's like, okay, it's difficult. You talk everybody into getting the van, and you're driving all the way to Washington, D.C., and you guys don't even show up when you do. So,
but I wasn't out there begging for you to come. You guys were coming anyway, and I missed it. That's a different thing.
Fair point. But I would just say, by and large, that's what I read on the internet every day.
Oh yeah.
When are you coming? When are you coming to the south of France? Like, how about the Falcon went to Gros Rock. They played a big festival, one of the biggest festivals in Europe, and that's about as close as you're gonna get. So,
right. Come out yourself, asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been tour managing and traveling with bands for a long time, but I've never been in a band. I've been threatening to start my Oi band for a while now, because now I'm old enough finally to be in an Oi band. So that's I will be in a very, very popular Oi band very soon. I'm sure.
Do you need a dog whistleblower?
That's interesting. The phone cut out for a second. I heard you say whistleblower. I was like, yeah, interesting. We're definitely going to be about politics, but man, you really I guess that's very DC of you getting all bureaucratic.
There you go. But okay, so while you've been touring with these bands as tour manager, what are some of your favorite cities to go to for the food? Obviously you're going there other than the food, but when you get there, there's really awesome food.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And you got to be careful. I hear people talk about this all the time. It's like, we're so quick to judge things. You go, people used to get robbed. Bands used to get robbed in Portland. Their vans used to get robbed in Portland all the time. The cities like Philadelphia is another city where bands get robbed. And, people have these, then they sort of get stereotyped. It's like, man, I'm never going back to that fucking place, whatever, fill in the blank, whatever city it is,
Right.
And the more you travel, the more you kind of realize, you really can't pigeonhole everything. So, that said, I know this sounds really stupid, but there's something cool and regional in almost every town. You don't think about St. Louis as having a cool cuisine, but St. Louis does have their own kind of pizza. Many people don't like it. It's like Proval pizza with it's kind of like white whiz or something like that. And they also do fried ravioli. So and again, people don't think of St. Louis as having a cool, unique cuisine, but it does. And there's always something worth checking out in pretty much every town. So that would be my first bit of advice: is just be open-minded and try anything and seek out what's cool. But beyond that, the best places for food is, I would probably say, San Francisco, because I lived there for so long, and a Mission-style burrito is superior to all of the Mexican food. That includes the San Diego fish tacos. I tip my hat to everything that goes on in Southern California, or the very wonderful Mexican cuisines they have here in Chicago or Colorado or in the Southwest. But the Mission-style burrito is the thing that I'm very, very much into. So I would maybe go with that. That's a good one. But I have to admit, after being a West Coast kid all my life and sort of being trained, I would say, looking down on the East Coast for so long and like, man, fuck New York, anything to the best. I will say, the pizza in New York lives every bit up to the hype that people talk about, and I've had it explained to me why it's good. So much of it has to do with the water and the bread, and that shit is true. So we could go down the list of like all the great things in every place, but I'd say my top jam is San Francisco, and also you've got great sushi out there too. Like that town really does know how to do it, but the Mission Style Burrito is the thing why people should ever start a band and get in a van and travel somewhere. It's for no other reason than to get, Gordo's Taqueria or Farlitos or Cancun. There's myriad good burrito places, and that's the place to do it.
And if you can't start a band, you can just go to San Francisco and try that stuff too.
You can also go just to San Francisco and get the burrito. But I think it's way cooler if you start a band just to get to San Francisco to get a burrito. If that's what you're doing, I mean, I hope that there's a band that will start and they're going to call themselves like Toby and Xander said we got to get this fucking burrito, and that's supposed to be their name. And they'll have an equally great name for the tour, and they'll get out there and they'll get that fucking burrito. It'll be great.
So if that band existed and their tour was like the Burrito Search, and would you sign them?
I guess I kind of have to. I'm kind of locked into it. The trick is there could be a band right now in San Francisco that's like, well, fuck it, if it's that easy, dude, we'll just walk down the street.
That's a valid point. Yeah. No, so that's not going to happen. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Toby, this was a great interview, great conversation. I really appreciate you spending time with us peasants over here.
It was pretty great. Actually, I think you and me, I think pretty great is the operative term. That's right. You and I.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, yeah, we're on it. I mean, you get back to Philadelphia, I'm like 2 hours away. We'll get together.
We'll have to do it. Or you can come on over and try my kick-ass mystery dish I got growing up.
I'm going to have to, obviously. You really outdone yourself. Sounds like you really outdone yourself.
That's right.
So,
yeah. And also, I highly recommend Aldi. You can get anything there. It's crazy. I got a fan there. You can get various things for your house. You get those candles to keep the bugs away. They got everything at Aldi. It's the best grocery store ever. When white people figure out Aldi, it's over. You can even get your fucking LaCroix down at the Aldi. So that's my other hot tip. My final hot tip for all you foodies out there.
I've never walked into an Aldi in my life, and I drive by one often. So I guess I'm going to have to check it out.
You're blowing it, sir.
I guess I'm going to have to, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so again, Toby, thank you so much. We are going to play some more Red Scare. Yeah, we're going to play some more Red Scare.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's this next song you're about to unleash?
It's the title track off of Nothington, Cobblestones. It's Cobblestones on Punk Rock Foodies Radio.
That's right. Awesome. Thank you. Rock on in the free world and stuff.
And I realize you can read it on my face. I'm no stranger to regrets, trying to relive all the nights I don't remember that we spent. It's been so long now, 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 it's been so long. Understand, I'm so tired. All I can do is wait here. Part of me is depleted. Consider myself defeated once again. Once again.
All right, I'd like to thank Steve Bryan, Skate Rat. I'd like to thank Toby Jeg of Red Scare. Look for all the great new products coming out, new albums coming out this year, and check out a bunch of the old stuff. Great bands on Red Scare. I also like to thank the people here at the Vicious Pig Saloon, downtown Mattersville, and you should check out Burning Rose Studios for all your video and graphic needs, and check out Betty Gear on Facebook, and also come on over to Punk Rock Foodies. We're almost at 5,000 members. Actually, we could be at 5,000 as you listen to this. So join, make food, post a pic. It's that simple. Bone-Ape-Tit, everyone.
I got my slave, I got my liver set, can man it breathe. But I am top for you, can't see the same. What about your inside, sand on a spell, burning the sun rays. I got my emerald, I got my emerald, I got my emerald, I got my
All right, now we get pig nasty with this.